Bob, so what is the mission of the Fourth Corner Foundation?
Well, the mission can be summed up simply by saying that it's an investigation of the aesthetics of sustainability, which sounds like a fairly simple topic, but actually involves an incredible number of disciplines and a lot of study and a lot of probably things like computer systems that we don't yet have, but which we can anticipate, et cetera, et cetera. Um, by aesthetics, we mean all the impact of it, really, not just necessarily that we think something's pretty or not pretty, but the acceptability by human beings that their environment is going to have to change drastically, both in terms of the next 4 billion people we have to put in cities, what happens to the rural communities, et cetera, because all this stuff is up in the air, and we don't have a lot of time to straighten this out if we're not going to be wiped out. So I think that there's a lot of implications both in agriculture, botany, basic landscaping, the architecture, the communication of all this through the arts, and the design of objects as well, other objects as well, that can be seen as quite interrelated. And I think that these all need to be addressed and looked at by a lot of different disciplines. But the depth of what you have to do varies depending on what their interest is and their kind of background of knowledge. So, for example, one thing can be expressed in the painting, for example, in a painting or sculpture that has some impact on the notion of how you see the world, and maybe how does that relate to the landscaping? What kind of stuff does a different kind of landscaping that maybe has a lot of agriculture mixed with it? No more lawns. What do we do then with sculpture? And has sculpture a bigger part of that? That might be it. How do we deal with paintings in the future? How are we going to look at paintings? Do we need paintings, et cetera, et cetera? These are all things I think that that anybody in one design discipline should be educated and aware of everything going on in the other design disciplines.
What impact do you think the foundation can have on the future?
Well, this is a really good question. It depends how horribly near is the end. So, anything that's going to happen rapidly, no one's going to have any impact on it. I mean, it's not even a discussion in the political realm of the United States, global warming, or any of the really serious issues. And they're still talking about coal plants, and who has jobs at coal plants. I mean, it's just archaic. So, you can be pretty pessimistic about it, but I think that it's not going to come from the government, at least not the governments we have now, and they all seem to be becoming more nationalistic, less global, and we need more global to solve these problems. So I think that the more impact from little forces on this all over the world, the more awareness, these kids that are marching in the streets now a little bit and whatever, all this stuff when it starts to happen will begin to initiate a view of let's save the civilization. Let's continue to have humanity and animals and things, and let's not trash the planet anymore. So I think that there's an impact. It will be unmeasurable, of course, but it's always worth doing. I mean, it's like if no one does anything, it's just like throwing in a towel, right? So we need to do something.
Well, then you have to deal with communities.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's half the problem. It's the sociology. It's legal stuff. HOAs, covenants, and also, codes, local building codes. There are places where if you don't have your lawn and it's all kept just nicely, they would come and crucify you on it. So, you can't do that, because if you take all the lawns in America, it is actually the largest irrigated and fertilized agriculture of all the plants. In other words, more than wheat and corn together. And that's staggering, because it doesn't produce anything except burning gas to mow it, throwing horrible chemicals on it to make it all look like something that it doesn't want to look like. And, so I don't know, to get rid of that would be a huge, huge impact on the world if we got rid of the American lawn, which hasn't existed for that long. Hasn't existed until there were lawnmowers. You can't have a lawn unless you have a lawnmower, right? Sheep don't really cut it because they cut it like this. So. Anyway, so I mean, all these things, there's lots of stuff to explore. We need to have more people working on it. So we need to expand. I think our building, when we get our buildings stuff done in another year probably, or a year and a half, that the plant, the physical plant, will be suitable for enough work to take place there and place to house people and whatnot. And then also for out here, using this house to have researchers come out and work in this, sort of like the McDowell colony in New Hampshire, where people go for 2 months and they do a project, and we like to do that, and since we have space enough for 3 things going on at the same time.
I want to clarify something about when I said that we weren't interested so much in the technology. We of course are interested that technology will advance. What we hope is that we can show that technology just can't be rampantly applied, and that aesthetics are a large part of this as well, especially in terms of landscaping or agriculture in the future. This technology could go as far as geoengineering, which I'm pretty sure it will if we don't get wiped out first. But everything comes with a set of choices. And often with our technology in the past, we've made very bad choices as how to use it, and created many problems, sometimes more problems than we had before we had the technology. So I think that technology needs guidance, and it needs to be understood by people, and we want to spread some of the knowledge of that as it occurs. It's open-ended, basically.